This weekend is NFL Week 5. There's a bunch of games I find really exciting. I want to talk about the game that there are two games I'm really most excited for. Number one is this, Steelers at Buffalo. Should be really interesting because Pittsburgh Steelers rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett is making his first ever NFL start. And yes, Buffalo should be the favorite in this game. They're a better football team. They're a Super Bowl favorite. However, because Buffalo is missing a lot of key players on defense, there's a chance that Kenny Pickett actually does pretty well. I think he's going to, the receiving core in Pittsburgh has a lot of great names. They got George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Pat Freiermuth. They got guys who can catch the football there, and their quarterback, Kenny Pickett's going to give them a chance. He's going to put the ball out there. Tre'Davious White, the number one corner in Buffalo, is not playing. A lot of their secondary's banged up. I actually think there's a chance Kenny Pickett makes some noise here. He might make some mistakes. In fact, I guarantee he's going to make some mistakes. But I think he could put up a lot of yards and some points and have a lot of fun here. So keep your eye on Pittsburgh and Buffalo this weekend. Another interesting game, not the number 2 game. I'll get to my number 2 game that I'm excited for in a moment. But Lions at Patriots is interesting because both teams are 1-3. And on one end, you got a huge opportunity for Detroit. Detroit is playing against the Patriots who do not have their starting quarterback, Mac Jones. He's doubtful. Their backup quarterback, Brian Hoyer, is injured. So Bailey Zapp, the Patriots' third-string rookie quarterback, is making his first ever NFL start. That's a great, great piece of news for the Detroit Lions. However, on the flip side, that young rookie quarterback, Bailey Zapp, is playing against the Detroit Lions defense, who has given up more points than any other defense in the NFL this year. So there's a chance he does really well against a bad defense. So keep your eye on this game. I think Lions at Patriots, two teams that are both 1-3. The Lions are better than their record would suggest, I believe. And man, is it an interesting matchup in New England. Now, my number 2 game that I'm excited for, I know it's the third one I've talked about, but this is the game that oh my goodness, I am fascinated. It's like a science experiment. It's Dolphins at Jets. For the Jets, it's their quarterback, Zach Wilson's second start of the year. He won last week after a rough start. He pulled it together in the fourth quarter, won the game. And the huge storyline here, in my opinion, Jets quarterback making his second start, that's awesome. But I'm so fascinated because Miami Dolphins starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is not playing this week. He's in concussion protocol. He's not going to play. And their backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, is going to play. A kid from Miami, by the way. And Teddy Bridgewater has some experience starting in the NFL. He also has had a long week to prepare. The last game was Thursday for Miami, so they've had more than a whole week now to prepare for this game. And I have been told all year a lot of different quarterbacks could succeed running this Miami Dolphins offense. They've got a high-level sports car of an offense. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill is questionable. But if Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both play, we get to find out how valuable really is Tua. Does Teddy Bridgewater do incredible? Is he going to be awesome? Could we learn that, hey, Tua's good, but he's actually not that valuable because a lot of quarterbacks would succeed in this offense? I'm really fascinated to see. What if Teddy Bridgewater does amazing this week on the road at the Jets? It's not too cold yet. Not going to be any snow in New York. I'm excited and fascinated to see what happens with Teddy Bridgewater starting for Miami this week in NFL Week 5. Seattle at New Orleans. Seattle is 2-2. The Saints are likely starting their backup quarterback, Andy Dalton. And for me, this is a great opportunity for Seattle quarterback Geno Smith to start 3-2 with Seattle. And by the way, outperform once again the former quarterback in Seattle, Russell Wilson, who started the year 2-3 in Denver. That's the storyline. I'm not that interested in Andy Dalton. I'll watch. I'm curious. Is he better than Jameis? We'll find out. He did okay last week, but they lost in London. But I'm really curious. Can Geno Smith take Seattle to a 3-2 start and have a better start than Russell Wilson 5 weeks into the year? That's a storyline I can't wait to track all year. Does Geno really have a better year all around than Russell Wilson? It's pretty hard to be worse than Russell was on Thursday Night Football. So I am excited to see what Geno Smith can do this week against New Orleans on the road. Dallas at LA. The Cowboys are 3-0 with a backup quarterback, Cooper Rush starting for them. Their only loss this year came when Dak Prescott started for them, which is kind of hilarious and interesting. Can Cooper Rush keep it going? Meanwhile, the Rams are 2-2, and they've been kind of concerning so far this year. I'm also curious how LA does, because I'm hearing LA's in trouble, their offense isn't very good, there's all this stuff. We'll see. I think it's actually a fairly even, interesting matchup between LA and Dallas, and I'm very excited. I think this game could be fun and exciting all the way till the end. Philly at Arizona. Philly's 4-0, and I think there's a chance that the Eagles embarrass the Arizona Cardinals this week. They got better coaching. They're better up front on the offensive and defensive line. The Cardinals' offensive line is a disaster. Philly's defensive line is terrifying. I think it's a mismatch up front between Philly's defensive line and Arizona's offensive line. I think Kyler Murray's going to be running for his life on Sunday. And how does Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray play? Unfortunately, Kyler's going to have to be the hero if Arizona's going to win this football game. He's getting paid like a guy who should be the hero every single week. Getting paid a massive amount of money. But I think Philly, I'm calling my shot here. I think Philly wins this game by a lot. Hey, things go wrong. Crazy stuff happens in the NFL all the time. I think Philly's a much better team on paper than Arizona. The question is, can they live up to what their matchup would show, which is that, again, they're way better up front. They're better coached. I think Philly, man, I'd be disappointed in Philly if they lost to Arizona, because I think on paper they're a much better team than the Arizona Cardinals. Sunday Night Football, you've got the Bengals at the Ravens. Both teams are 2-2. It's an AFC North division matchup. Joe Burrow against Lamar Jackson. I think it's just going to be fun. I'm hoping for a good, close, intense game. It's Sunday Night Football. I think, man, it's been a while since we had a Sunday night game that I was like, wow, how awesome and fun and exciting. And I think this one is going to be, I'm excited to sit down and watch this one. It's going to be really awesome, and I'm just hoping for a great, fun game. I hope the same thing from Monday Night Football. You've got the Raiders at Kansas City. It's another divisional matchup, this time the AFC West. KC is 3-1. The Raiders are 1-3. I think Vegas is better than their record would suggest. And I just hope it's a fun, close game between Derek Carr, the Raiders, and Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City. The Giants are playing the Packers in London. I expect Green Bay to win this game by a lot, too, to be totally honest. Feels like a mismatch. Daniel Jones, the Giants quarterback, is reportedly going to play in this football game. But he's missing two top receivers, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. I don't know, man. Daniel Jones isn't fully healthy. I think Green Bay's a much better team. I think Green Bay wins this game by a mile in London. The LA Chargers at Cleveland. It's a big game. Both teams are 2-2. I honestly think it's a fairly even matchup, actually, with two teams that have got a lot of talent on their roster. And I think that LA at Cleveland could be fun and interesting between Justin Herbert and Jacoby Brissett. And I think Herbert against a good defense, that's always exciting and interesting. And I think this could be a fun game. I think a lot of games this week that are like fun and close and interesting. These are some of the games that are not as interesting and not as close. You got the Bears at Minnesota. I want to see Minnesota legitimize themselves and win by a lot. The Bears are not very good, and I want to see Minnesota prove to the world that they are a team that is formidable and potentially a playoff team. Tennessee at Washington isn't very interesting to me. Washington is 1-3. Their quarterback Carson Wentz hasn't played great this year. He's got to play well in this game. I'm not that excited by Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill. I don't really this game. Okay. I'm interested to see how Carson Wentz does, because it's been a bad start to the year for him, but that's really the only storyline I care about is, can Carson Wentz finally show up in this game and have a better performance than he's had for most of the year? Houston at Jacksonville. The Jaguars are 2-2. Houston is winless. If Jacksonville is as good as I think they are, which I think they're pretty good, they gave Philadelphia a fight last week, and Philly's pretty good. So I hit the table. I think Jacksonville should win this game easily and comfortably. And if they don't, that's a disappointment to me. Atlanta at Tampa, both teams are 2-2. Hard to find a reason to care about this one, I'm not going to lie. The only really storyline to me, I love Marcus Mariota, the Falcons quarterback. I'll say that every time I get the chance to. Kyle Pitts, their stud tight end, is not playing in this football game. But the storyline really is Tom Brady appears to be getting a divorce. He hired a divorce lawyer. And I'm curious whether the divorce is going to affect Tom Brady on the field. I would actually imagine, if anything, it makes Tom Brady better, because he's the kind of guy that I would think when life gets rough, he dives into work fully head on. And I think football's kind of an escape for him. So I think it's very possible Tom Brady dominates Atlanta this week, actually. Given the news, given what's going on in his personal life, I think he might actually play better, because Tom Brady has that effect. And I think when he's struggling, he dives farther into his work. He's one of those people, and he's kind of a workaholic. So I think Tom Brady could have a great weekend this week at home against Atlanta. Finally, the 49ers at Carolina. It's Baker Mayfield against Jimmy Garoppolo. What a quarterback matchup. Wow, I'm so excited. I'm not. On paper, the 49ers are a much better team. They should win the game. And Carolina's 1-3 right now. If they start the year 1-4, is there a chance that if Carolina loses this game and it's ugly, could their head coach Matt Rule get fired after week 5? I think it's very possible. Keep your eye on that. I don't know. It's hard to get a read on that, because you got a new quarterback. I think you want to give it a whole year to give it a real chance. And I don't know what Carolina would get. I don't know how Carolina would really benefit by firing Matt Rule right now, unless they've got another coach in mind. Maybe they want to bring in Sean Payton, and they're like, we got to fire this guy now so we can bring in the next one. That's very possible. That's actually a good idea, a good thought. I hadn't thought about that so far. You fire Matt Rule after a 1-4 start, and you offer Sean Payton like $100 million to come coach Baker Mayfield in Carolina. How interesting would that be? Sean Payton, the guy who saved Drew Brees' career, working with the guy who's been compared to Drew Brees a lot, Baker Mayfield. I think I'm onto something there. That's now the thing I'm rooting for. I like Matt Rule as a person. Nothing against him. I hope he goes back and coaches college football and dominates somewhere. But Sean Payton coaching Drew Brees 2.0, Baker Mayfield in Carolina, that dog will hunt. That's an exciting storyline. So count me in for rooting for the 49ers against Carolina this week, because I like Carolina. I'd love to live there someday. It's warm, it's fairly temperate, it's moderate, it's not a lot of nice people. I could wear the blue colors, that'd be fun. Sean Payton to Carolina to coach Baker Mayfield sounds awesome to me. Go 49ers during NFL Week 5. Wow, how about that?